demo for the DNA lab. And we start off the DNA lab with a quick introduction. The introduction asking the students, okay, so today we're going to learn about what our genes are made up of. And, what we need you guys to do is to forget what you think you know your genes are made up of. And we're going through the historical pathway of discovery for what our genes are made up of. Because, yeah, we all know that our genes are made up of DNA. We know that because we're in the 21st century and all of these discoveries have been made. But we need to look at how these discoveries were made over time. So I like to use the analogy of, okay, so we didn't go from the first computer to the first Macintosh Apple computer. We didn't go from that to, boom, the iPhone, what is it, 5 now? The iPhone 5. There's a lot of things that had to go in between and a lot of discovery in new technologies in order to get from the very first Apple computer to the iPhone 5. And if you look at the history of that, based on the discoveries, the technology we had at the time, that's all we could do in 1990. Okay, I think when I was in college is when the Macintosh computer came out. Oh, it's so sad to think. And that was like the big thing, okay? So we're looking at the historical aspects of how the discovery that DNA carries the genetic code. So step out of what you think you know about DNA and go with only what is presented in front of you in these clue sets, okay? But we'll get to it all at the end. All right, so the first thing we want to know is who discovered DNA? Okay, who was credited with it, and who discovered it? And yeah, Watson and Crick. So James Watson and Francis Crick were PhD students in England. Watson was an American, is an American, he's still alive. Crick was a British guy who passed away several years ago. But we have James Watson and Francis Crick. So they were awarded the Nobel Prize for the discovery of the structure of DNA in 1962. Okay? Now, they did not make this discovery all on their own. Okay? They stood on the shoulders of other scientists who did research and published their research, their findings. And so they read that and studied those bits of information as they came along, and then they put it all together and then went, oh, this is the structure of DNA. So that's what we're going to look at, is we're going through the historical discoveries. Okay? And so what we need to do for that is we need to look at these bits of information. So you're going to be getting 3 clue sets, okay, one at a time. We're going to examine clue set 1, and from clue set 1, we're going to see what do we know about genes just based off of the information in clue set 1. So again, please shut off what you think you know about DNA and just focus on what information is provided for you in clue set 1. Okay? So go ahead and pass them out, clue set 1, and give them about 10 minutes to read it and go through clue set 1. Okay? Float around in the tables while they're going through clue set 1. After about 10 minutes going through clue set 1, then you can give them the envelope, okay, that goes along with the lab, which are the little paper model cutouts of nucleotides, okay? And so, after about 10 minutes, go, oh, okay, and I'm also going to give you guys some little paper models here that you can arrange based off of, look at them and observe them for now, okay? So pass those out. They might start already putting together a double helix, which is fine. We'll address the models a little bit after. We'll address it in clue set 2. Okay. So after you give about 10 to 15 minutes with clue set 1, then bring them to a discussion and say, okay, so what did we learn about chromosomes and the composition of our genes from clue set 1? Okay, so what did we learn? There are several things that you should have learned by reading clue set 1. Okay, so hopefully they'll get the following. Okay, if not, you're going to have to guide them through it. Okay, so the first thing was Miescher. Okay, so what did Miescher? What discoveries did Miescher contribute to telling us what the composition of our genes are? Okay, so Miescher in around 1868. Again, the dates don't, they don't have to memorize dates, but what did he do? Okay, what did Miescher do? Okay, Miescher he was studying chromosomes. So he was studying chromosomes, and what did he learn from the study of chromosomes? Okay, he learned that chromosomes are made up of basically two major components: protein and another molecule that he named nuclein. Okay, nuclein. So that's what we learned from Miescher. We learned from Miescher that chromosomes are composed of mostly protein and this other molecule called nuclein. Okay, so next they talked about Fleming. Okay, so what did we learn from Fleming that applies to our chromosomes? And Fleming, that was about 1880. So what did we learn from him? Okay, so very good. Hopefully they're going to be giving this information to you. So from Fleming, Fleming studied chromosomes in gametes. And what Fleming contributed to our knowledge of what the composition of our genes are is that the egg and the sperm, okay, for fertilization, you need the egg and the sperm to make a zygote, okay, and that the sperm contributes virtually, the only thing that the sperm contributes to the egg is chromosomes, okay? So that's why sperm are, so tiny. Actually, I should draw the sperm like this in reference to the egg I drew up here. So the only thing in sperm, the major component of sperm, are chromosomes, and that is what their major contribution is to the egg, that then we get the developing zygote. Okay, so that's what we get from Fleming. And then get to the turn of the century, 1900s, we have this Flügler. I guess that's how you say his name, Flügler. Okay, so what did we learn from him? Okay, what did we learn from this guy? And so what we learned from him is that in the gametes, the egg and the sperm, okay, that the egg and the sperm contribute what? They contribute half. They have about half the amount of chromosomes in it than all of the other body cells. Okay, so that was his major contribution. All the other body cells, so everything besides egg and sperm, have equal amounts of DNA, but the egg and the sperm have only half the amount of chromosomes. Okay, chromosomes. I should say chromosome instead of DNA. Chromosome. Okay. All right. So that's what we get from these individuals in clue set 1. And then we have the big contribution from clue set 1, which was the experiment done by Hershey and Chase. Okay? So no, not the candy bar Hershey, the scientist Hershey. Okay? And so what Hershey and Chase did is they did experiments on bacteriophages. And bacteriophages are viruses that attack bacteria. That's what they do, okay? And from their experiment, their famous Hershey-Chase experiment, this led us to understand what molecule transmits the genetic information, okay? So they had two alternative hypotheses as to which molecule transmits the genetic information. And what are those two, what are those two alternative hypotheses? Okay?